What if you could shrink an entire diagnostic lab right down into the palm of your hand? Today, we're diving into a piece of tech that's not just about getting results faster, but about completely changing the game when it comes to treating disease.
So, to really get a handle on why this is such a big deal, we're not going to start with the complex science. Instead, let's start with a really human problem, a major gap, actually, in our healthcare system right now.
And this gap, well, it shows up in maternity wards, of all places. It affects expectant moms and their brand new babies, at a time when they are incredibly vulnerable.
And the scale of this problem? It's just staggering. I mean, every single year, more than 21 million pregnancies are affected by this one bacteria called Group B streptococcus, GBS for short. Now, for most adults, it's pretty harmless, but for a newborn, it can be absolutely devastating.
Yeah, this is no minor issue. The World Health Organization has a name for what happens, and it's heartbreaking. They call it a preventable tragedy. We're talking about an estimated 150,000 stillbirths and infant deaths every single year. And the keyword in all of this? Preventable. So here's where it all goes wrong. Our current system, it's just not working. A doctor takes a swab weeks before birth, right? That sample then goes off to a lab and takes 3 to 5 days to get processed. By the time a mother is actually in labor, the critical window, that result is totally outdated. So what happens? You get missed infections or you get doctors giving antibiotics just in case. The system is just way too slow.
Okay, so this is the exact problem that Nexsen's first product is built to solve. The whole idea is to completely change the standard of care by bringing the lab right there to the maternity ward.
You can see it right here. This slow, clunky, centralized process is the real villain. All these steps, all these delays, they create this massive, dangerous gap right at the moment when you need that information the most.
And the difference this makes? It's just night and day. You go from a 3 to 5 day wait down to minutes. You go from a far-off central lab to right there at the point of care. And the results become actionable on the day of labor, not weeks before. It's a simple change, but man, the implications are absolutely life-changing. And you better believe this kind of revolutionary potential hasn't gone unnoticed. Australia's Minister for Industry and Science even said that this tech gives newborns a real fighting chance. That's a powerful statement, and it's backed up by some serious government support.
So you might be wondering, how does a simple test, it kind of looks like a COVID test actually, get lab-quality results so fast and so accurately? Well, it all boils down to 3 really clever innovations.
First up, it's all about these proprietary, ultra-bright nanoparticles. The best way to think about them is like tiny, superpowered searchlights. They're so bright they can spot even the tiniest amounts of bacteria, way lower levels than old-school rapid tests could ever find. And that is absolutely key to making sure you don't miss a diagnosis.
Okay, second piece of the puzzle. Those little searchlights are paired with something called high-affinity aptamers. Now, if the nanoparticles are the searchlights, think of these aptamers as molecular homing missiles. They are programmed to lock on to one specific target and only that target, in this case, the GBS bacteria. This is what makes the test not just sensitive, but incredibly accurate.
And third, and this is where things get really exciting, the whole system is modular. This is the secret sauce. It means you can just swap out that homing missile, the aptamer, and program it to find a totally different disease, all while using the exact same searchlight technology. It's not just a single test, it's a true platform. And that modular design, that's the key to Nexsen's vision, which is way, way bigger than just one test. They're not just solving one problem. What they're really doing is building a toolkit that can take on a whole bunch of global challenges, well beyond the maternity ward.
For the first example, let's head out to the farm. We're going to talk about a super common and really expensive disease in cattle called bovine mastitis.
Get this, this one disease costs the global dairy industry more than $32 billion every single year. That's all from lost milk production. So you can imagine a rapid test that a farmer can use right there on the farm. It would help them treat it way faster, way more effectively, saving a ton of money, and of course, improving the lives of the animals.
All right, let's bring it back to human health, because the platform has huge potential here too. This time for a condition that affects hundreds of millions of people who often have no idea they even have it. We're talking about chronic kidney disease.
The number is just mind-boggling. 700 million people around the world are affected by CKD.
And because the diagnosis depends on those same slow lab tests, it's often caught way too late. So Nexsen is adapting the platform to create an early, routine screening test, something you could do in a doctor's office or maybe even at home one day.
But the vision just keeps getting bigger. They've got a whole pipeline of tests they're looking at. Things like major biosecurity threats to our food, plant diseases you've maybe never heard of, like Xylella and HLB, plus a whole list of infectious diseases that affect millions, everything from dengue fever to sepsis.
So, okay, it's one thing to have this incredible, versatile technology platform, but how do you actually turn all these ideas into real products and get them out into the world?
Well, the answer starts with being smart about partnerships. That first GPS sensor, it's a $7.7 million project, but look at this. It's heavily funded by the government and research partners. That's a huge deal because it means they can make their own cash go a lot further without giving up parts of the company.
And they've got a really clear and, pretty ambitious roadmap laid out. Clinical trials for that GBS test, they're kicking off late this year. They're aiming for regulatory submissions next year. But here's the really important part. At the same time, they're already working on the test for kidney disease and bovine mastitis. They're doing it all in parallel. So to keep all those plates spinning and to speed up getting these products to market, Nexsen is now looking to raise between $6 and $8 million by going public. Which really brings us to the big final thought here. When you've got a technology platform that's this flexible, this adaptable, the real question isn't if it can solve another major global problem. The real question is, which one should be next?